I think it is time to talk a bit about the changes at Lynch Bages. And I'd like to introduce Didi, if you're there, Didi.
I'm here.
Thank you for joining, Didi. This is a picture of Lynch Bages as it was before we renovated. In the year around 2005, 2006, we started working on a program to define what Lynch Bages should be or would be after we renovate the cellars. And there were three important points we wanted to change. The grape intake area, the vat room, and we wanted to double the number of tanks, and also the barrel room, which needed to be larger in order to have more space and to be more flexible in terms of aging the wines. With all this in mind, we made a booklet of our technical requirement, and we approached Didi, who I'm sure a lot of you know, is a Commandeur in New York, and also happens to be an architect of great fame. And we asked Didi if he would be willing to work with us on this project. And I think, Didi, it was around 2009, was it?
Something like that. I can't remember exactly, but yes.
We tried to keep one of the important things is we wanted to keep the 19th century cellar as intact. And that was made difficult because when we started to dig around that cellar, it wasn't solid enough. So we had to tear down the wall of the cellar, and we had to make sure to preserve everything inside. That was a bit of a challenge. The other thing we wanted, and Didi was very keen about that, is to keep the tree here in front. And so we built around and kept those two important things. This is a picture I really like because we made a big hole. We took about 2,500 trucks of good terroir out, and every day this gentleman coming from the village came to watch the construction site and spend hours. So we've decided to pull him a chair so he could sit and watch, and that was his enjoyment of the day. He would spend hours watching the construction. That was when we looked at the prototypes. The prototypes were made full size, so we could choose the stone of the facade, the style of the concrete. We moved from a winery with 40 tanks to 80 tanks, so we doubled the number of tanks. And this is what it looks like now. Slightly different. So here, the historical part and the two wings that you can see on the label, the 19th century Stravinsky cellar and the new building here with the tank room, ground floor, and the barrel room is underneath. And this is the office space and the tasting room here where I sit right now. Didi, you wanna comment on those views?
Well, I didn't. Sure. I didn't have any pictures, but I'm glad you showed those because I think then people can get an idea. And I just want to say, first of all, I want to say what a pleasure it was to work on this project with the Cazes family. You know, I first met Jean-Michel Cazes in 1985. When, at the recommendation of the French minister in charge of the Louvre project, which I was running for my father at the time, I was entronized into the Commanderie de Bordeaux at Chateau Lynch, and Jean-Michel was the grand maître for that ceremony. And so I subsequently took him on a visit to the hole in the ground, similar to the hole that you just showed. But But you know, his wines were always and still are a favorite in the US because Jean-Michel is such a good ambassador for his wines and in fact for all of Bordeaux. So when he asked me more than 25 years later to help with the design of his new project, I couldn't say no. I'm not going to talk about the technical winemaking other than to say that every requirement of the technical team, Jean-Charles, of course, Daniel Loz, Nicolas Labenne, and many others, we made sure that we met because, you know, the whole purpose of the building is to make the wine better. Throughout the process, they made sure that I understood their objectives. It was a great learning experience for me, and I thought I was pretty knowledgeable. The precision possible today is absolutely amazing, and of course, every winemaker wants all the tools to achieve it. The first major decision was the location of the building itself. Two sites were offered, one in the middle of the vineyard and one at the site of the existing winery buildings. The first, with no real contextual concerns, offered the possibility, in fact, the challenge, of a solution with a very forceful, strong architectural expression. This was very tempting. The second, adjacent to the chateau that appears on the label, would have to coexist and enhance the larger context. There was no real space to build without demolishing existing functional buildings. The Cazes had also built a small village with some shops and a wonderful restaurant immediately adjacent, serving Lynch Bages visitors and the larger Pauillac community. My instinct was that the new winery should be there. Fortunately, the Cazes agreed. So then, with the new program, with the parcel vinification and gravity flow with no pumps, and the enlarged barrel room, we had to try to fit it all in on that site. The resulting building requirement was more than double the size of the old one. Building on top of the existing winery and enlarging and modernizing it while keeping it operational presented huge practical challenges. Some parts, like storage and offices, could be demolished. But winemaking has an inexorable chronology that cannot be compromised. So a complex solution of musical chairs ensued. Finding the solution was beginning to preclude any opportunity to make an architecturally exciting building. And that's why the Cazes came to me after all. It took a while and many sleepless nights before I had the nerve one day to ask if a temporary facility could be found so that I could design a building without all of those constraints. I think that Jean-Charles and his team had anticipated my question. They had already asked themselves the same thing and had started looking. So one day we drove around Pauillac looking at the options they had found. One by one, each option fell apart. So what happened? Jean-Charles said we could use the first site in the vineyard. A temporary tank facility was quickly designed and built so as not to miss the next harvest. This allowed me to achieve my architectural objectives, namely, to create a working environment flooded with natural light so that everyone working there would feel the connection to the outdoors and to the vineyard. Visitors as well would know at every moment where they were. And furthermore, we had to create a winery exterior that blended in with the surrounding buildings, the chateau and the village. We all wanted something modern that would symbolize in a way the transformation of the winemaking process at Lynch Bages. The functional organization follows the traditional one with fermentation tanks on grade and barrels below. A catwalk gives access to the top of the tanks for filling. In fact, this is unchanged from the system introduced to Lynch Bages by Cazes in the 1860s. Those original wooden tanks and catwalk are preserved as an historical artifact to show that while the new winery has all the latest technological bells and whistles, the underlying process is still the same as it has always been. For the new larger tank room, we have an industrial roof with north-facing skylights. Solar panels can be installed on the south-facing roofs. To the west, we have the support spaces storage, receiving, and office. The large covered loading dock area allows for up to 3 lines for bringing into the harvest. A glass-enclosed laboratory monitors the reception from one side and the fermentation tanks from the other. The north end houses the offices on 3 levels with a rooftop terrace overlooking the 100 hectares of Lynch Bages vines and the surrounding properties such as Grand Prix Lacoste and Mouton. You can see all the way to the Gironde. Directly below the tank room, we have the vastly enlarged barrel room, capable of handling 2 vintages simultaneously. The Cazes really, as well as if not better than any other family from either left or right bank, embody the spirit of Bordeaux winemakers at the highest level. They are dedicated to making a luxury product to enhance our dining pleasure. Only the best will do. And this is what the Commanderie de Bordeaux is all about. So at the end, I'm honored to feel like an honorary member of this remarkable family.
Thank you, Didi. This is great. Great introduction of the project, and I've shown some pictures. What you see here on the left is the integration of the old cellar Skavinsky together with the new, and on the right is the tank elevators we use for the maceration process. The last picture I want to reveal for you today, and we're going to announce next week, is as for celebration of this vintage 2020, which is the first vintage produced in our new cellar at Lynch Bages. We have twisted a little bit the label, and this is for this year only. To commemorate, we have showed in a shade here behind the structure of the new building behind the historical facade of Lynch Bages. And here the vintage 2020 is written by hand by Didi. So thank you, Didi, for helping us with this project.
It's an honor. It's an honor.
So thanks so much to you both for sharing, and what a fantastic project and fantastic wines.
Jean-Charles, it's Jim Finkel from New York. I wanted to tell you, I think we had the most participants of any of the chapters. We were very excited to be part of it, but we're very particularly proud of our fellow Commandeur, Didi Pei, that you were willing to hire someone who should have already been retired as an architect. So you're making us all feel as older people that there's hope for our careers. And if you made Didi an honorary member of the Cazes family, we would like to make you an honorary member of the New York chapter of the Commanderie de Bordeaux.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'll come and have a dinner with you guys in New York as soon as we can organize one.